So in 2013, one of the hottest books coming out was a debut crime novel by a first-time author no one has ever heard of, which made people wonder why would this novel get so much attention? That's because, in reality, the author wasn't real. He was made up. A pseudonym. This Robert Galbraith was just a cover for... wait for it. Yeah, which at this point shouldn't be surprising since the back of the book even admits that. It's one of the best, worst kept secrets about the book. So, how is Miss Rowling's take on the crime novel? Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, my name is David Popovich, aka the Bookworm, and welcome to Bookworm Reviews. Sit back and relax as we dive into the first Cormoran Strike novel, The Cuckoo's Calling, by J.K. Rowling, writing as Robert Galbraith. Okay, let's get this question out of the way. Why did J.K. Rowling feel the need to write under a different name? It's not like she still isn't one of the most bankable writers today. She could have just put her name on it and that would have made bank on that alone. But the main reason she did it was it gave her freedom. If Rowling were to just announce she was writing a new book, there would be a lot of hype and expectations, which, if you take into account how people reacted to her first non-Potter work, she felt this could test her skills. It's one thing to keep publishing under your name and people just say it's good because it has your name on it. It's another when you go under a name with no expectations and see if your writing can stand on its own. Just ask Richard Bachman. As to why a crime novel? She just really wanted to write one. Why not? Crime fiction is a popular genre and if done right, can become a successful series. She actually submitted the novel under her pseudonym and before the news leak, people liked the book on its own merits. Then the truth was revealed and the book became a bestseller cause, again, Rowling's name makes bank. So what is the story of The Cuckoo's Calling? Well, it starts off like most crime stories, with a dead body. A murder most foul, as the poor soul was pushed off her balcony into the frigid London winter. The poor cow jumped. There was no one else there. Your so-called witness was coked out. Oh. Well, problem solved. Alright boys, wrap it up. Just a simple suicide, time to go home, nothing foul going on here. We jump ahead 3 months later to meet Robin, a woman who just moved to London after getting engaged and is doing temp work for a local detective. Cormoran Strike. Strike is our main character and he's your standard down on his luck PI who finds Robin's entrance couldn't have happened at the worst time. Now the impossibility of paying off his mountainous debts, the appalling consequences that would attend the imminent failure of this business, the looming unknown but inevitable horrible sequel to his leaving Charlotte. In Strike's exhaustion, the misery of it all seemed to rear up in front of him in a kind of kaleidoscope of horror. And on top of that, now he has to pay for a temp he can't afford. Unless someone literally walks through the door right now, he's basically screwed. So immediately afterwards, someone walks through the door, and it's not just some rando off the street, but John Bristol. You wouldn't remember me. It was years and years ago. But I think you were friends with my brother Charlie. Charlie Bristol? He died. In an accident, when he was 9. Because of that connection, John wants Strike to help him. It's my sister, you see, said Bristol. Right. Is she in some kind of trouble? She's dead. Strike just stopped himself saying, what, her too? What an asshole! I'm sorry, he said carefully. This isn't easy. Firstly, you should know that my sister was Lula Landry. Lula was a famous model for she was one of the most beautiful women in the world. She was also the woman found in the London snow. Her death ruled a suicide due to her mental issues. But her brother, well I should say stepbrother since she was a black girl adopted into a rich white family, believes she was murdered. Let me try that again. believe she was murdered. Based on two pieces of evidence. One being one of the residents saying what she heard. She heard a man shouting up there, right before Lula went over the balcony. The police rubbished her evidence, purely because, well, she'd taken cocaine. The other being CCTV footage of a man walking towards Kentigern Gardens about 20 minutes before Lula fell, and then footage of the same man running hell for leather away from Kentigern Gardens after she'd been killed. They never found out who he was, never managed to trace him. Strike, however, is not comfortable taking the case. Lula's investigation was covered so much by the press that there could be no other option but suicide. That is, until John offers to pay Strike double his normal rate. He agrees to look into it, but doesn't expect to find anything new, but at least he can get himself out of debt. But as he begins to go over the story, the setting, and meet a colorful cast of characters, Strike starts to wonder if John really is onto something. Was there more to Lula's death than meets the eye? And if so, why? That's everything we really need to know about the story. The rest of the book goes into a rigid structure as Strike visits locations, talks to witnesses, and collects evidence to piece together what happened. So how is the book? It's good, but it's also a standard crime novel, and standard is the key word here. Now, to be upfront, I don't know much about the mystery genre. I've talked about a few like the Chet and Birdie mysteries and Black Sad, but in reality, I haven't read any of the classics to compare how well Rowling does. I've never read an Agatha Christie book, nor Raymond Chandler, or Sue Grafton, or even Nancy Drew or the Hardy Boys. So I'm coming at this without any of those points of comparison. However, I can tell you that this follows a standard structure if you've seen any mystery story. No joke. After we get the setup, we just follow Strike and Robin meet up with the possible suspects, from a sleazy film producer who's hard to reach, to the drug-addicted rock star boyfriend, a fashion designer who views himself as Lula's protector, a street urchin friend, and an uncle who never cared about Lula or her life choices. We get their stories, find new leads that all lead to a big reveal as Strike confronts a murderer, which, yeah, it turns out Lula was murdered. Spoilers. As to why, you'll have to read that on your own. Now, when I say standard, I don't want you to think that means this is a bad book. Far from it. This is a well-structured book that doesn't do anything new, but Rowling takes the tropes with the genre and do with them as she sees fit. Case in point is Strike. While the down-on-his-luck PI shtick isn't anything new, what makes the guy stand out is he's an ex-military special investigator who lost his leg during the Afghan war. Plus, what gets us to like him is all the personal stuff happening to him while trying to solve the mystery. From his bitch of an ex, learning he's the son of a famous rock star, to the death threats he gets from a pissed off client. The more we learn about his past, the more we get to like Strike. Same with Robin. She's basically the POV Watson character, but even though we are introduced to her first, she doesn't follow Strike everywhere. Though she is an interesting character as she shows a knack to detective work that even Strike likes. At several points, she helps move the case forward as her storyline becomes her wanting to continue doing the PI work, but whether Strike will let her do it. It's character motives like these, along with the colorful suspects and mystery of Lulu's death, that keeps you reading and wanting to know how it all plays out. Though the big takeaway from the book is that rich people basically suck. The book tackles the topics of race, class, and the nature of fame, and how it can take someone who's trying to find her place in the world being stripped away of her humanity. They wrote that she was unbalanced, unstable, unsuited to the superstardom her wildness and her beauty had snared, that she had moved among an immoral moneyed class that had corrupted her, that the decadence of her new life had unhinged an already fragile personality. So is the Cuckoo's Calling good? Yes. Is it anything new? No. But that doesn't mean Rowling isn't having a fun time playing in the mystery sandbox. If you like her work, you'll be sure to enjoy this. What about you, Internet? What's your opinion about the Cuckoo's Calling? If you have a book you would like me to review, let me know in the comments below. Well, sadly, I have to go back on break again. The film festival is around the corner, and I will be too busy in the coming month to put out anything. Yes, I know, that sucks, but that's what happens when you're doing these things on your own. There's only so much time in the world. But I'll be back in April, and I'll be talking about something that's been on my mind for a while. Have I mentioned I'm a big fan of comic books? Like, share, and discuss. Until next time, have a nice day.